Alright, so if you would try this problem right here. Now, ignore a lot of those. What you're seeing in those right here is things that go along with measurement, and we have not gotten to that module, but I want you to do this one right here on the very bottom. Now, you're going to need to rewrite that stacked up or vertically, okay? But one of the main things you need to do first is make sure you've copied it down correctly. Okay. Remember how lining up decimal problems is important? It's just as important on a problem like this. You get finished, just go double check. Just rest your arm for a second. Alright, you know that place on your report card, and I don't know how closely you look at your report card, but there's a place on there that says fluently add and subtract numbers. Do I think that you know how to add and subtract? Sure. But fluently, that's the key word, which means I don't have to stop and, it doesn't, I can, fluent, it's just like fluency in reading. It's smooth, it moves along, there's not great big long pauses. And so if you're there, that's awesome. If you're not there yet, this is an area where you do need to practice. Some of you sat there forever trying to get started. I don't know why we shy away from borrowing. If y'all need something from each other, hey, my marker's run out. Can I borrow one? Y'all borrow from each other just like that. So, same with math. Okay. Hey, I don't have enough. Can I borrow some? You know, he's asking the guy next door. Okay. So that becomes a 1, and that's a 13. And so 13 take away 9 is 4. 1 take away 9, can't do. Got to go next door and borrow. 8 has plenty to share, so that becomes a 7, and that becomes an 11. 11 take away 9 is 2. 7 take away 9, can't do that either. Got to go next door.
There's just a lot of kids.
There is. And that's on purpose sometimes, just to practice it. So 17 take away 9 is, okay, with the 8. 3 take away 9. No, because there's zeros next door. It just means that you get to travel. Yeah, do what? He has to borrow, but he can't borrow from a 0.
Gotta go to the 5.
Gotta go to the 5. So nothing. The 5 has plenty. That becomes a 4. Now, do we just get to go straight back to that 3? No, we gotta drop it off along the way. So this becomes a 10.
No, it's a 9.
Now it's a 9, so that I can borrow or share. This was a 10. Now it's a 9, and this is a 13. 13 take away 9 is 4. Okay, and please keep your numbers lined up, or you'll be subtracting the wrong thing from the wrong number. All right, we do have a 9 left here. 9 take away 9. Can I do that? Yeah. Some people will see that and they'll go and borrow. But 9 take away 9 is 0. All right, I'm losing my place here. All right, 9 take away 3 is 6. What about that 4?
Just put it down.
Bring it on down. It's like subtracting a 0 because nothing is here. So 4,604,824 is your final answer. Okay, now if you were off somewhere, maybe you didn't get that as your final answer, but you still know how to subtract. Sometimes we just like adding, just like multiplying, just like dividing. Sometimes we're just a little off on one of our subtracting. Yeah. Oh, one number.
We were doing on the second digit in it.
Mhm.
I'll put a 1 down instead of a 2.
And that, how easy is that to happen? Especially if you get going fast, you know? Question or comment back here?
People are probably getting it wrong because with just the decimals and where they have to line up the point, and it doesn't matter how far back or how the point is. And so that's how people put it messed up.
Sometimes I think people, like you said, after we've worked with decimals, they see the commas and they want to, but really the commas do help you line things up. You just got to be careful, okay? Yeah.
I forgot to subtract one of the numbers.
Messes up your answer, doesn't it? Yeah.
Subtracting is easy.
It is.
Subtracting
It is. We just don't like it as much. I see it every year. But
No one
the more you practice it, the better you get. You don't mind it as much.
likes subtraction.
You need this skill to be able to do things like balance your checkbook when you get grown and things like that. You need to be able to subtract. So it's an important skill. Yeah, maybe that will be a thing of the past by the time you guys get grown. Anyway. All right. All right, I want to jump back. We don't always do these review problems or these practice problems, but we're going to look at a few of them. Okay. All right, so you really probably don't even need, I don't want you to copy this down. We're just going to talk about this. So erase your board and just lay everything down. Okay. So if 90 is in the top of our number bond and 10 is one of the numbers underneath it, what has to go in the other bubble? Okay, let's raise our hand, but yeah? 80. Okay. What is down here added together is going to equal this. Okay? Question? Okay. So let's go on to another one. Got 90 on the top, 50's on the bottom. What has to go in the other bubble? 40. Okay? Nothing hard about that. What if 40's in one of the the bobbles. Bobbles.
Wow.
And 50 would go in the other one. Why? Because 50 and 40 together, added together, make 90.
I almost said 60.
I'm glad you did. All right, let me jump. Oh,
Bring it. I know this one.
I don't know. It's sideways. I don't think they're gonna get it. These are Miss Wendy's private thoughts. I don't know. It's really gonna throw some of them off. Will they be able to figure this out? You know, I've had a thought bubble coming out of my head.
That's the easiest thing.
Faith, what do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was so hard.
So hard because the bubbles were sideways. Now there were times that I've had to draw them sideways before because there's just not room sometimes to put them underneath. Okay, but it works the same way. It's still a number bond. These two bubbles are still adding up to make that one. So what's missing? 100. Okay. All right. What if we put this one up there? Again, it's sideways. Dun dun dun. Okay. What would it be?
That would be
Think about 18 and 9. You know, if you have to drop that 0 off, that helps some people. Come on, you're ready to say it. If your hand's up, you're ready to say it. Yeah. 90 and 90 make 80. I mean 180. Not 80. 90 and 90 make 180. Okay?
Why is there so many of them?
Because there is.
Well, there's a bigger reason than that. But Mason, say it one more time.
60.
60.
Yeah.
Okay? 60 plus 120 make 180. All right, guys, put your markers away. We're not writing these on our board. Okay? All right, let me jump down here. Oh my goodness! The bubbles are on top. It's gonna blow our minds.
That's so hard.
Kennedy, what's missing? Say it, or pull this down. I gotta read your lips. No, it's got the 300. So what other part's missing? 60. Okay, 60. All right. Okay.
That was so.
Here we go. Be ready. Here it comes.
Oh my
I know. Don't. All right, Brandon, what is it?
260.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
360 is the total. We take 100 away. 260 it is. That's right. Okay. Ooh, it's a good one. It's a good one, and this one's not hard.
It's just if you know.
It might look like it is. Yeah. 180. Right? Okay. 360 is a whole circle. Degrees.
And 180 is half.
180. Here they are right here. Remember yesterday, 180 degrees is half of a circle. So another 180 degrees would be a whole circle. Okay. No, and so you just start learning some of these numbers. Okay. 360 minus 90 is 270. How do I know that? Well, 270 is 3 of the 90s, and the other 90 would make 360. You just start learning those numbers. 45 and 45
Equal.
make what? Remember yesterday in the video? 90. Okay. Now, why would we be doing number bonds with 90, 180, and 360? And if you were paying attention to the end of our little video yesterday,
Because.
you might remember. It's coming later. It's not even today. Yeah?
Because those are the important numbers. Because 90 is like either less than or more
Well,
than.
90 is a
right angle.
right angle. Uh-huh.
And then 180 is a half of an angle. Well, a half of
Have a circle, yeah.
a circle.
It's a straight
And
angle.
360 is a whole circle.
Is the whole thing. And in another day, it actually may be tomorrow. I think it is, because I've shifted some lessons around. But remember how he had, let's say it looked like this. Now we know that that's 90 degrees, right? Remember it was cut. So it was like 2 angles. And this angle right here was, say, 60 degrees. So what is X? And I don't go freaking out because I'm throwing a letter into your math. It's like somebody looking in their soup and go, there's a fly in my soup. Ah. No. Letters belong in math sometimes. You know what that is? It's like a blank. It's like, this is 60, so
What's the answer?
what is this?
No.
Fill in the blank. So if the whole thing, okay, look, if this whole thing is 90, and you know a piece of it, you know the other piece.
But you have to have
90 take away 60 would be that other piece, which is what? 30. All right. That's why we've been doing those number bonds. Because if we start off with 180 degrees, and we have a piece of it, what's the other piece? If we have 360 degrees, and we have one piece, what's the missing piece? If we have 90 degrees in our whole angle, and we have one of the inside angles, what's the other one? And so that's coming tomorrow. So all those number bond things is just kind of mental math to get you ready for what we're doing tomorrow. Make tomorrow easier. So those are in there. I thought we would throw a few out and try them. Now yesterday, all of a sudden I have this. Okay, all of a sudden I have this feeling I was in the wrong. Okay, yesterday we started using the what? What's that thing called?
the protractor.
The protractors. Okay, what do you remember about using them? What are some important things to remember about this? You might have heard it in the video. You might remember us talking about it in class. What's one thing that was important?
Not to line it up.
Okay, with what? With what part of this?
Always the bottom of the
This. Okay.
circle.
Well, let's start with that line that's on the bottom. This black line that's on the bottom. Listen, guys, please look at this. We're not talking about the bottom of the protractor. We're talking about that black line that runs right there. Okay? That is what you lay on top of the bottom ray of the angle. Lay it right on top so that you almost can't see it anymore. Okay, that's one important thing. What was the other important thing?
There's a little circle, that little window.
Mhm.
You have to point it on the corner of the
Angle. Okay, good. So if I've got the corner in the window and the bottom ray lined up with this black line, what do I do next? Because once I do that, I'm set to find my angle measurement. What do I do next? Yeah.
You say if it's a cube or a deuce, and then you pick which numbers you're going to
Okay.
use, and then whatever is below that is.
Look how open the angle is. He's saying, decide if it's acute or obtuse so that I know whether to look at, at which set of numbers. That's one way to remember. Or look where your bottom ray is. If it's over here, then I'm going to start at this 0 and count up. If my bottom ray is on this side, I'm going to start at that 0 and count up. Because you don't start counting at 180. You start at 0 and count up. Okay? All right. One more thing. I was going to see if y'all remember. Oh, here we go. What if you go to measure an angle and it's really small and you can't see, it very well underneath the protractor? Bailey, what would you do?
On the bottom, there's a straight edge, and you just like
Okay. Lay that along your angle. If this is my angle and it's too little, then I'm going to take my straight edge and I'm going to use this large one so you can see it better. And I'm going to lay it on there. Now some of y'all yesterday, y'all kind of cracked me up a little bit. Y'all would go, and then you'd make it like like this much longer. It's almost like we're afraid to really just, hey, make it on out there. Stretch it to the end of the page if you have to. Okay. Good. I gotta be careful that my ruler doesn't move and wiggle. Okay. If it does, then I could get the wrong. Make that angle big, and then it's real easy to read on your protractor. This is Miss Wendy's room.
Hey, could you resend the attendance for me? It's not pulling through.
Sure, I sure will.
Perfect, thank you.
Yours never goes.
It didn't go there because I forgot to do it.
Yours never goes through.
Oh yeah, it does all the time. Yes, this is intermission, a quiet intermission, please. Let's just. I don't know if that's gonna work right now. There we go. Now I want you to be thinking about. I'm fixing to ask you this. How do you think we would draw an angle? Because most of the angles we saw yesterday were just already printed on the page. What if we were the ones? What if somebody came to you and said, hey, I need you to draw a 46-degree angle? So be thinking that. I'm fixing to ask you that in just a second. Keep saying that. Might be. You never know. All right, we got all here.
All I need is more sets.
This just takes a while to load up. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. I'll explain in just a second. Hold on. I mean, how do you know how big that angle is?
Well, I think I don't use my fingers 4 times to how big it is.
Very scientific there. Yeah. Very, very specific and very scientific.
It's a boo. Yay, this is nice and I what? A boo. That's a cute. A boo. A boo. A boo. A boo. A two.
Okay, intermission is over. Please take your seats once again as the second half of our show will resume. Okay. Okay. So, here's a question once again. What do you do if you're the one asked to draw the angle? What do you think? And we're just throwing out ideas right here. Knowing what you already know and what we practiced yesterday, what would you think you would do? What's something?
Straight edge.
Definitely need a straight edge.
Protractor.
No joke there. Okay. Well, it might be the straight edge on your protractor. It could be a ruler. Okay. Oh, you're saying you need a protractor.
Yeah.
Okay. We need some form of straight edge. We definitely need a protractor.
To see if it's
Because like the guy in the video said yesterday, we're measuring rotation. Rotation is going around in a circle. Yeah, what do you think we would do?
So if you have a protractor, there's a straight edge on it.
Okay.
For the bottom one, and then you put actually the hole on the end of the bottom one, and then on the 46 degree, and you put like a little mark right there, and you can use the straight edge and draw it out.
And well, Dodge is going to teach class today. See, I'm out because that's exactly what we're going to do.
Lost 8 brain cells.
Okay.
What did he say?
All right. Yeah. Don't you wish you'd been listening? Because that's okay. Forgot y'all were on freeze there.
No, like what? How? What?
He said put the dot on the thing you're trying to
It was a lot what he just said. Okay. All right, let's do this. Let's get out. Let's go ahead and put away our whiteboards. Let's get out our workbook because there's a practice page again today. So you are trying to find lesson 7, module 4, lesson 7, and it's the practice sheet. It'll say practice sheet at the top. I'm just not sure. Well, I think we need a little more space. I think I'm just going to leave it regular. Sorry.
Found it. That gives me that.
What's the page number on that?
It is.
That's what we're not using.
Fancy.
I see. This paper laying on your desk, just leave in the corner, we'll use it in a little while.
What page number? 37.
Okay, page 37 is what I'm hearing.
30 billion.
Should say lesson 7 practice sheet. Don't use this paper right now. We'll use it in just a little bit. Alright. Now, you're also going to need a protractor, so let me hand that to you.
I'm not growing a bone.
So on page 37, you have several angles that are already created. Okay. Here we are. All right, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you just a few minutes, and I'm also going to have you working with somebody. Now, listen to me. You and the somebody are going to both, let me see how they're, you are both in your own book going to measure the angles and write down, with your pencil, just write down how big you think it is. And then you're going to compare. Now, if your numbers are like maybe 1 or 2 degrees close to each other, like if she has 29 and she has 30, we're going to leave that one alone. But if she has 75 and she has 45, that's a big difference. So let's check each other. Let's watch each other measure it and see which one is correct, because you might not be sure which one is correct. Okay, talk about it. Hey, this is acute. It can't be over 100. Hey, this is obtuse. It can't be 30 degrees. Talk about those things. All right. And so then we'll come back together in just a second and see what you've gotten, because this is what we did yesterday. Book is totally upside down. So there's what I'm looking for. All right. So please get with this person. Let me read the whole list, and then you can work with this person for just a second. All right. Martin is going to work with Faith, Bailey with Valerie, Will with Gage, Mason with Alex, Ishmael with Isabella, Caleb with Kennedy, Charlotte with Jayla. Who did I not call? Is Reagan the only one I did not call? All right, Reagan, I have you down to work with Charlotte and Jayla. So that's my one group of 3. Did I not call anybody else? Okay. So for about 5 minutes. Now, there are several angles. Look at that very first figure. How many angles are there? Look at it. Not how many lines. How many angles are there?
2.
There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 angles there. Okay. So what I'd like for you to do on that figure is to find at least 2 angles there that you can measure. Okay, and I'll let you pick those. Okay. All right, and then measure the others. So we've got 5 total. 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5 on the first figure. All right, go ahead. You can just stand at a desk. We don't have to get everywhere. Everybody needs their book, guys. Everybody needs their, okay, did y'all not just hear me? We're going to stand at a desk because we're there for 5 minutes. We don't need to move furniture for 5 minutes.
Brandon, that one and I can work with them.
I did it. I bet that was one of the days that he was out, you know, when you were out for a while. All right, yeah, if you would work for Brandon, y'all just can work at his desk. All right, Jalen, Charlotte, let's go. Okay. Write down your measurement and then check it with your partner. That's why you have a partner.
What if the moon thing? I got four.
Line this up just a little bit straighter, a little bit. See if you can get closer to. Yeah, but I think I have. Sure. Just needs to be. Now, if you see your partner measuring something, measuring an angle, and they're not lining it up correctly, help them. You know, in a kind way. You know, show them what they might be doing a little bit wrong. And help them out. Yeah, you just have to turn it so that it's still along one of the. It's just one angle. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you're doing all of these. 1, 2, 3, and then 2 up here. There's 5 angles total, guys. Let's see. Yeah, they're up there. Those up there. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Huh? To the bathroom? Hurry. Okay. Your partner needs you. Get your measurements from all of them. We're going to talk. You do that, honey. Do you think? You did get angles here. It just always maybe talk with Brandon about how you can do this. This is gonna be a big discussion, I don't wanna, I want you to try on your own right now, and then we'll talk about it. Yeah. Now, there are ways of figuring that out with that contractor. This is gonna be a whole discussion in just a minute, so y'all just try it. If you come up with something great, if you don't, you don't. We're gonna talk about it. I know that the last angle on that page is very large. I know that causes some challenges. I just want you to try that one, and we're going to talk about it. So if you get to, if you get, what? What did you just say?
Oh
Yeah,
no.
so you're not allowed to say that.
It's not really? He's the one that says it's hard, I'm the one that says it's
Oh, y'all traded?
Yep, we've traded.
Well, you know, everybody's stronger at something different.
I did this math. No, I think it's easy when it's like numbers and all that.
Might have to trade and then trade back, you know?
Yeah. I don't like how
Or maybe he can just share his easy button with everybody. Hey, that would be great. Alright, we got just a couple more minutes. If you get finished, just go back to your seat.
Yes, these were easy. This was easy. None of them were hard.
Yeah. See, I told you. You were gonna put 20 out. Where did you get that?
You need to look at my answer. Yeah. It's 3 years in.
I want you to talk with her.
I mean, he answered it.
What if I said?
Wait, it's not hard. That's not hard.
Sometimes it's just because when I drew with my straight edge, I might have leaned it just a little bit down or a little bit.
You
up.
stole.
It's gonna make it
Y'all
easier
steal
to
my
do.
moves. Y'all trying to get better at the game.
I got a 40 measure. I got a 47 measure. Measure all of them. 36
I mean,
Yeah,
it's good that
two.
you're thinking because there really is
I'm
no
not
way
missing.
to do it. So,
Me too.
I don't want to tell you you're wrong yet or anything like that.
Smart. I think it wants me.
This one.
You sure you thought you was right? You said.
Ishmael said earlier.
You
it's
said
not
it's
hard, but
1
not
4.
easy.
Like, where do you begin?
It's not hard the first time I said that.
Every time I say it, it's just
All right.
the biggest one. Wait, hold on. It's 1
Oh, down to the last minute. Okay, almost. Yeah. This one's hard to tell. It's not good, but.
Yeah, it's 120.
Remember, I told you pick 2 of them because here.
Hello.
Alright, Belle's fixing to catch you, so get as far as you can.
Miss Lindsay, this is not hard. This is not easy. It's a mixed up.
It's a mix. Okay, please return to your own seat. Okay, Kennedy, your tractor's right here. Okay. All right. Now, if you would lay everything down, open your book up. I did see some very good angle measuring skills happening in the room. Okay, put it down. Everything in have a seat. Alright, so I told you here, just pick two of these angles because look, you've got an angle here, you've got an angle here, you've got an angle down underneath, you've got an angle here, you've got an angle here, 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 and here. There were 8 to pick from. Okay. So did anybody go with this obtuse angle right up here on the top?
Yeah.
What measurement did you get for that, Will?
45.
For this one right here?
What?
What did you get for that?
180.
Okay, 180 is a straight line, so it can't be 180. Okay, if 180 would be all the way open. What?
145.
Okay, 145, that's definitely a lot closer. Anybody else get that angle? What about this angle right here, the smaller acute angle? Yeah.
We got 38.
38. Anybody else get this one right here? Yeah. 43. All right, I have a feeling it was a little closer to 43, 45-ish. Okay.
That's what I thought.
All right. Anybody do any other angles on that one? I have a feeling some of you saved that for last. What about figure 2? Now realize, guys, you just had to turn your book. It was sideways. So I'm going to take my protractor, which is not in there, and I'm going to turn it this way and measure it. Because I'm measuring this angle right here. You've got to find that little arc. That tells you where the angle is. Okay. All right, so what'd you get for that angle? Are you just scared to share with me? Because everybody should have measured that angle. Brandon, what'd y'all get there?
We got 45.
45? Anybody else get 45? Okay. Anybody get close to 45 but not right on 45? Okay. All right, good. Moving on to figure 3. And you, hey, it's acute. 45 is definitely less than 90. All right, what is this angle? Acute, obtuse, right, what? This one. Everybody. Obtuse. So you know the answer is going to be above 90. Okay. Isabella, what'd y'all get for this one? 60. Right, what did you get? 117. What did you get? 120. 121.
120.
Right. So most people think that is 120. So if we take the protractor and put it where it's supposed to go, I can't do this on the board without the board having a freak out. Helps to have the numbers going the right direction. And that is a 120 degree angle. Now some of your numbers were not exactly 120, they were close. Still okay. All right. Now, the last figure, figure 4, looked like this. Okay, listen to me. I think some of you turned your book and you measured this angle right here, which is not what you were supposed to measure. How do you know that? Well, the arc is telling you what to measure, and the arc is right here. So, the question is, and it's even up here, how do we measure an angle that's greater than 180 degrees? What are we going to do? Because this is only 180. How are we going to do this? Now, there could be more than one way. So, I didn't really want to tell anybody. I didn't want to give you directions there. I wanted to just see what you came up with. How did you do this? You could use 2 protractors, and with a partner, there were 2. Is that what y'all did? No? Did you come up with an answer? What'd you get? No?
got 130. I got 130.
All right, some of you got like 130, 120-ish, something like that. And I don't know how you got that because this is 180. You see what I'm saying? Just a flat line. If this had been out to here, this much would be 180, but it went that much more. You see that? Out, if it was a straight line, it'd been 180, but it went that much more. Okay, so what do we do here? If this is 180, how could we do this with this? Any other thoughts? Yeah.
If you do that line, you could put it on the corner of the angle and measure it.
Measure this too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do y'all get what she's saying? Y'all put your eyes up here. She's saying we would need to extend that out, make it a straight line, and then measure this angle. We know this much is 180, add it to this angle. So you would really be measuring two angles and adding them together. Okay, you could do that. You know what else you could do? And nobody thought of this, but we really haven't been in this angle world very long. But let me show you what else you could have done. All right, y'all watch me. We're measuring in rotation, right? And we know that when we go around the whole circle, how much is that? How many degrees? 360. Well, if I would have turned my book and I would have measured this angle on the underside, right here, if I would have measured that one, I could have subtracted it from 360. Then I would know what this big angle is. Does that make sense? If a whole circle, if this thing went all the way around, was 360, okay? If I just measure this piece right here, I'm just trying to make it so you can see it. If I measure this piece and subtract it from 360, I would have the big piece that we don't know. Yeah. Okay. These kind of situations is where this kind of protractor comes in handy. Okay. Now, this is not one we're going to get real familiar with this year. But at least we know they're out there in the world for, if we have a situation like this. But what if you don't have this fancy kind of protractor? There are other ways to figure it out, okay? So the more comfortable we get with angles and how they all work, okay, then you'll start seeing things like this. Oh, I'll just subtract that from 360. Okay. So we've had a little practice with that, and now we're going to kind of turn the corner. Okay. We are going to throw away some. Oh no, we didn't have to throw enough. Oh, okay. We are going to practice drawing some angles. Okay. We won't become angle drawing experts this year, but we're going to get a gist of how this works. Okay? So that is why you have a piece of blank paper. It's just scratch paper, and that's why I gave it to you, because that's how we're going to do our practice. Okay? All right. There are times, I'll just show you this. Go ahead and close your workbook. Close your workbook for now. Okay? You can leave it out or set it your desk if it's in your way. I just want you to see what's coming. There are times on your problem set where they give you the bottom ray. Y'all see this page? It's like there's just one line there. You've got to put your protractor along that ray and draw the other ray, okay? So that you're making an angle. Sometimes, though, look at here. There's nothing, and they're going to tell you how big they want that angle and to see if you can draw it, okay? So that's where we're headed. All right, now, if you caught anything he said a minute ago when I asked that question about drawing an angle, he gave us all the steps we're going to use. Have you done this before? No? Okay. All right, just using our noggin. You know what a noggin is?
Yes.
Okay. I said that second
This
period
pen.
yesterday, and some of them were like, "Oh, I've never heard that." This is your noggin. All right, here we go. So to draw an angle, and you're drawing on paper, much better situation than doing it here, because I'm gonna pop that protractor up there, but you know it's not really a straight edge. Okay, so I'm gonna do the best I can on the big board, whereas you're gonna have a little better situation with your protractor on paper. Okay, so we need somewhere to start, don't we? Okay, so we're gonna draw an angle that is 80 degrees. You don't have to write that down just yet. You can if you want, but we're going to be using several places on our paper, so don't start smack dab in the middle. We're going to be kind of up at the top. Okay. So we're going to draw an 80-degree angle. So we're going to start with our bottom right. If you will take your straight edge, stop. Because some of you just do it and listen first, and then we'll do, okay? We're going to draw with our straight edge. Okay, here's your protractor. Let me make it a little bit larger, not lopsided, larger. Okay. And I want you to use the bottom as a straight edge, and you're going to draw a ray in just a second, not yet. You're going to draw right along the bottom. We're going to actually put a little point on one end. Okay, you see that? Let me move it. Okay, so go ahead and do that now. You're doing this up towards the top of your page. Okay, you've got to have, hold on, time out. I'm watching Ishmael, and he's not, I just need to tell everybody this because I didn't say it. He's putting his way up here. What's going to happen in a minute when we need the top of this?
You ain't gonna be able to use it.
You're not going to be able to write on the paper very well. You know, so start it down low enough where you can at least write a little bit on the top of your protractor. Okay, so just scoot it down just a little bit. Use the bottom of your protractor to draw a straight line. That's going to be our bottom ray of our angle. Okay, now move your protractor away once you've done that and put an arrow on one side. A little bitty dot on the other. We don't want that dot to be really, really big. Some people like to just, go crazy on the dots because, think about it, when you kind of start looking at that thing through the window, you want to be able to see a corner there, not nothing but a large dot, okay? All right, now, really and truly, if you were drawing this on your own, you would not move that protractor away. I moved it away so you could see my line. But I'm going to do my best to put it right back where it was, and I need you to put yours right back where, actually, rewind. We're going to put the protractor back, but we're going to scoot it to where the corner, the end of it, the point, is in the window. So please watch me do that first. My window is this colored dot, right? I got your eyes up here? I'm going to take my protractor now, and I'm going to move it down so that my end point is in the window right there, and my black line is not doing that, okay? So that my black line is right there along my bottom ray. So it kind of looks like I'm getting ready to measure this angle. It's not there. I've got to create it. So, okay. Protractor needs to be there. Get it there. Got it? Okay. You can see the end point in the window, and your bottom ray has the black line right on top of it. Okay? You got it there? You got to get it there so you're ready for the next step. Alright, so we've drawn a bottom ray. Now we move this over and get it lined up so that we can put our second ray. Now how do we do that? I want every pencil down out of your hands. I want your eyes up here. Okay? Now, we said this was 80 degrees. So I am going to go up. Do I start with counting with 180 or do I start counting with 0? 0. Please be careful about that. It makes absolutely no sense to start with 180. I'm going to start with 0 and I'm counting up. So I'm using those bottom numbers here and I'm going up to the 80. Now there's 100 sitting on top of it, but that doesn't matter. There's where the 80 is. I'm going to put, if it'll let me, I'm having to go a little bit higher because the board acts weird. Okay. I'm going to put a dot right where 80 is. Go ahead and do that right now. Hold your protractor really still. When I'm done, 80 is not 90. This is going to have to look acute. So if you have used the wrong number, your angle will not look right. Alright. Holding the protractor still, having it in the right place is very important for this step right here. Once you've made that dot above the 80, now I can move my protractor out of the way. Oh, wow. I have no idea how I did that. Okay. Please don't color your paper green. That wasn't supposed to happen. Okay. Now you should have a ray and a dot. A ray and a point. Let's call it like it's supposed to be called. A ray and a point, right? A ray. Now I get to use this as a straight edge again. And I'm going to connect. I'm going to change to a different color so you can see it. Please use your straight edge. Do not do what I'm doing. I hate that I can't lay this on the board. The board won't allow you to touch it in 2 different ways at the same time. That's why sometimes with my elbows accidentally touching it, it won't let me write on the board. Okay. But you're going to have to use this on the bottom of your protractor. Do not do this without your protractor. And you're going to connect that point that's up by the 80 down to the end point right here. I'm going to try to do it just holding my... Okay, and now you should have what looks like an angle. I'm going to redraw this. Now if your top ray looks really short, you can make it longer. It's okay if it's shorter. Put that arrow on the end of it. And now you can, pull everything away, and it should look like you have an acute angle. Okay. We can even draw the little arc in the corner of it, make it really look like an angle. We can put 80 degrees right there. That's a good place to put that measurement. Okay. And you have just created an angle. So it's not hard. It's just, making sure you know the steps. Doing it. Yeah, these look great. And I can tell they're cute. I can also tell they are almost to 90, but not quite.
Look at mine. Mine looks
Yes. The ray? Yeah, did you hear Reagan? Like her bottom ray was mine was too, and then I made it longer. My bottom ray was way longer than my top ray. If that happens, that's okay because the measurement is here. Not so much with your rays, but if that bothers you, you can extend it and make it a little bit longer.
I erased the line on the bottom.
This one and made it shorter? Yeah, you can make the bottom one shorter. Because you're not changing this, It's not changing the measurement there. Okay, great job. It wasn't bad. Not at all. All right, let's try another one.
No, you're not the easy one. You said it was hard.
All right, now, this one is going to be a little different than this. This one to me was easier because I had you land on a number that was actually on the protractor, right? We went to 80 degrees and there's an 80 sitting right there. This time I'm going to pick a number that's not actually written on there. You're going to have to count with those itty bitty lines a little bit. So you're going to have to really keep your protractor still and careful and count up to the right number, okay? So let's erase that. You're not erasing, I am. Okay. How that green happened, I really would need to know that. What did I touch?
The protractor when you were trying to like go on.
protractor.
No, like with your pen.
With the pen up on the top of 80.
Ooh.
See?
Now
And
move
then
it
now
away.
move it away.
Move it away.
Move this away and it stays.
Yeah, that's
See
what
how
it
it's
does.
flat?
Yeah, but how do I undo that? I wonder.
Push the undo button. That's cool. It's
Thanks, Caleb. That's it. Yeah, there you
You're
go.
welcome. I know.
Well, it didn't work. It
Oh.
didn't work.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Ah. So will that erase? Ah, okay. All right, here we go. Somebody tell us what's the very first thing we need to do. And by the way, this is going to be 133 degrees. Okay. All right, what is the very first thing we need to do?
You need to draw a line.
With, okay, be a little more specific.
With a point and a arrow.
Okay, so that's a ray. We're going to draw a ray, but what are we going to use to do it? Can I just go zoop, down my paper? What part of the protractor? We're going to go like this. The straight edge on the bottom. Okay. All right, so take your protractor and we're going to create a straight edge on the bottom. I'm sorry, we're going to create a ray on the bottom with our straight edge. Okay. Now, it is okay if your angle opens either direction as long as you're trying to use the right numbers. Okay? Everybody's got that drawn. Now, we've got to move our protractor. Don't leave it right there and put your dot on the top. That will mess you up. How do I move my protractor? Where do I put it? How do I know what to do? Yeah. Okay. In fact, I'm going to erase that. I'm going to put mine on the other side this time. Okay, you take that window, guys, and put it on your end point. And line up the black line along the bottom. This is hugely important, or we won't have the right measurement. Okay. Alright, y'all remember the video yesterday where that guy had the two rays? Watch me for a second. And they were first on top of each other, and then they started moving. Kind of like the clock. Alright, wherever that bottom ray is, that's where your 0 is that you use. I'm going the opposite way this time. I've got to think to myself, okay, then start with this 0 this time. Alright, so I'm going to go all the way to 130, but then I'm going to count 3 extra little lines. Okay, so we're finding 130. That's probably going to turn blue. Maybe if I just do that.
No, that's not right. That would be 50.
No, because my angle's opening this way. I did it the opposite direction. Okay, I had to flip it because I didn't have a lot of room. I knew this was obtuse. If you did yours the other way, then you might use the 130 over here. Depends on where your angle opens. Okay. All right, I'm moving this now. Using it as a straight edge. Let's see if I can actually do that. Okay. I'm gonna turn down. Alright, and there we go. It's 133 degrees. I'm going to draw my arc, and I'm going to draw my write my measurement. Okay. And you should, this should be obtuse. This is 133 degrees. Okay, go back and measure that. Your top ray is not in the right place.
No.
Now, if you took your paper and you gave it to someone else and they measured this angle, would they get 133 degrees?
Yeah. Yeah, that did it perfectly. I know. How would they die? Google got it. So did I. What is? Makeup. I literally tell if you're not.
No, it looks like it does. The trees, the stuff, it's fall.
Yeah, it's so light. I think I was like, it's snowing. I was like, well, you did. I'm allergic. Found that out the hard way. I woke up on my on my neck. I'm allergic. I'm allergic to my feet.
Would you come help him get told in 33?
Oh yeah. That's a
Okay, this is so cute.
Get out.
33 is bigger than 90.
Is this? I can keep doing this forever. I thought you did it. Let me mention. So did I not? I never said this before. I never said this before. And then if you took it off, and straight it. Pretty sure that's yeah.
Now you can always go back and remeasure your angle when you're done and see if it measures the right amount.
Wait, she used the bottom line.
Now, you see why I used the other side? Because I was close to the edge.
Do you have any extra clothes for it? Amounts are right. Yeah, he gets clothes.
Close for business.
Yeah, now you can make it.
No, man. Alright. I think. Well, let a few of you finish up.
Yeah.
You just draw the same size angle on the other side. Bring it over here. Okay. This is a cute angle. And you should go look at that color. Okay, yeah, you can.
How you sharpen your pencil. How you sharpen your pencil. I know. Oh my God. Oh, he's got something. See what that means? Come here, I'll get your pencil. Oh, I'll get you. Yeah, that's part of the fight. And then I'll get your kid. Okay, Lacey.
Alright, if everybody, y'all finish that up and then I'll see. Let me show you this real quick. Please look up here because this might happen to you on your problem set. Several of you made your bottom line, your bottom ray, and then when you went to measure to 133, it was like off the page. You couldn't make a dot. You were off the paper. If that happens, erase part of your bottom line. Make it shorter so that when you measure again to find 133, it's on paper and you can actually put the dot. You can make this bottom ray shorter if you need to. Okay? All right, so that's just, hopefully will help somebody solve that issue. You know, if the paper's not there, you can't put a dot to be able to draw that top ray. Okay. All right, we're going to stop here. We're going to take our break. We'll come back and practice a little bit more on our problem set, okay?